Okay, so we are back. Yes, so we continue with our okay. Please, if the screenshot, then you prompt me. Okay. So at the point in time, as I said, Job started feeling the heat as a man or as a human being, and then started questioning God why those things were happening to him, as human as he was. So he felt the heat. However, he still believed that God has a plan for him. So without provocation, another friend came in, Elihu. Elihu also entered the conversation. And this Elihu was quite young. He believed that Job has also spent too much energy vindicating himself rather than going before God to seek for forgiveness. So according to Elihu, he came to give a different perception about how God works. To him, God works in two ways. God communicates to human beings in two ways, through vision and physical pain. So maybe the theology according to Elihu, God communicates through visions and pain, physical pain. He says that physical suffering provides the sufferer an opportunity to realize God's love and forgiveness when he comes to understand him and seek for forgiveness. He also assures that, he also assumed that Job must be wicked to be suffering as he is, and thinks that Job excessive talking is an act of rebellion against God. Because he came to me, Job talking, asking questions. So he said that, in fact, Okrani Ninaka, anything Awoyari and Awobri. So Elihu came with that ideology. God finally interrupts, calling from, he comes in demanding Job to be brave and respond to his questions. Then, in just a twinkle of an eye, God just restored to Job all that he has lost, everything. And then he tells Job that he's also not going to leave his friends like that. He's going to punish them, but Job go in to plead on their behalf. God forgives them. What we have then, God forgives them. And then Job's health is restored. He provided him as much as twice as much as the property he had before. New children, an extremely long life. So after all, the story ended well for Job. So what can we learn from Job's story? Why is this thing still showing? Job's story is a powerful one that encourages us that we are not alone in our struggles and pain, and that our suffering is not always a consequence of sin. Sometimes we need, if you are reading the story, I'm sure that if we were there with Job, we would have also concluded like the other friends. But because we know what had happened previously, because we got to know about Satan's appearance in heaven, we understand the story from a different angle. So sometimes we need to experience pain in order for our faith to be refined and renewed. Job withstands the peer pressure of his own wife and friends and hold fast to God even while he doesn't understand, and eventually does repent for the sins he has not even committed. He recognized that he isn't guilty of the sin his wife and friends claim he must be. And that is a great encouragement that we can be confident. Listen, we can be confident in our innocence, but we must confess and repent of our sins. So even though he was very sure about what he knows about that he has done nothing, he still went forward to seek for forgiveness. And so we might be confident and innocent, but sometimes or always is better we go before God for any forgiveness. Because you see, sometimes there are some of the sins that we don't even recall. And so that's how Job's story ends. Please, if you have a question, you can ask, because we are moving to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, we get to know that the author is Solomon.
Papa,
Yes.
yeah, this is about the story of Job, as you are saying it. And sometimes you see some people who are right with God, all of a sudden something will happen to them. Even yourself, you think about it, you don't get it. There is a man who has been so helpful to me for some years now. And all of a sudden, something happened at their workplace. It was a mistake of one person, and they were all sacked from the workplace. For about 2 years, the people that he has been taking care of and the activities he has been doing in the church, everything is shut down. And it was like there was a lot of chaos in the house. The children have to come home, they don't go to school again. And this man is someone who is like a lot of people look up to him in the church, the youth, even the elderly people. And everything was so rough. So we were all asking ourselves questions that what's at all is happening to this man? What is going on? So it was after 2 years that he has even gotten another lucrative job more than the one that he was doing. So Job, the story of Job is telling us that we should not be quick to condemn people. We should not be also quick to ask God questions about what is going on. Sometimes it is the will of God so that it will build our faith. So I mean, this story is one powerful one for we Christians that we have to we need to take consolation anytime anything happens in our life.
Thank you very much, my brother. It's true. Sometimes we are in the church and we just stand up judging people here and there. I don't know, but one of the things I always pray to God about is that He should grant me the grace not to be too quick to judge people, and also to give people the opportunity to explore, because sometimes you don't know it all. We assume that it is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, life is just A, B, C, D. But sometimes some people, they can have it starting from Z. Some can even start from T. Some can even start from H. It gives us an idea that it's not all their fingers are not equal. The trials and suffering people go through, we should not be so much into judging them. Some of you are session members. Some of you are catechists. Some of you are caretakers. Some of you are group leaders. Sometimes when issues come, let's take our time. You know, there's this issue about suspension in the church. And sometimes I've been thinking about it over and over and over. Someone go and give birth out of wedlock. The person is not yet married and decide to give birth, or not even decide to give birth, because some of them are even mistakes. And then the church will say that we have suspended you. Then another person go to get pregnant and then go to abort. And that person comes back and is accepted in the church because no one knows. The two of them who have even committed the greatest sin in our own lives.
The one who aborted.
Yes, so sometimes I don't know, but when you had a session, you had the, what's the name, caretaker, the catechist, and then sometimes it's just some way. But if we also don't bring those things into the system, our church will also be full of sin. So sometimes you think about it one way, and the other way is another way to be a control measure. But it's not easy. I just want us to look at it that we shouldn't be too much to judge. Don't read meanings to issues. Take your time. You don't know it all. We all don't know it all. Let's take it a step at a time and give people the benefit of the doubt. Let's give people the benefit of the doubt. I was just watching a movie this afternoon. If I didn't watch it through and through because I was still working on this live, and then you get to see someone lying on a man of God that he had had sex with the man. The guy said, no, I came to your house, nothing happened. Not to it was another person who had paid the lady to do that. And you know, he was suspended from the church. People said all sorts of things, and I've been asking myself, so not even one person, even his own wife did not even believe it, the husband. And the question is, oh, so at least not even one person gave him the benefit of the doubt that at least maybe at the organos also. And later, when the truth came, you can't look at him because we have said all sorts of ugly words against him. Anyway, it serves us right. We should learn from the story and also know that when you are suffering, don't just curse God. It's not everything. Sometimes it's to strengthen your faith. It also doesn't mean that intentionally try and put yourself in a disadvantaged position and say that Job suffers, so you are suffering, and it's an act of God. No, there are some people they incur their own suffering unnecessary. That one you cannot put God in it. So let's go to Ecclesiastes. The author is Solomon, the son of David. So the narrator of Ecclesiastes calls himself the teacher. He identifies himself as the current king of Israel, the son of David. So he opens with the exclamation, vanity of vanity. All is vanity. Can we read Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 2? Yes. Can we read Ecclesiastes 1, 2? Yes, who is reading? Yeah. Are we there?
Ade baba.
Hey, Munyan in Tame. Minimu ko preach you KJT amobema ya waste time. KJT occasion na now kan your boy and now kan.
Ecclesiastes 1, verse 2. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Amen.
Amen. So vanity of vanity, all is vanity. So he laments that everything is endless and meaningless, especially human toil and the cycle of nature. For nothing is ever truly new on earth. There's nothing new on earth. The guys have a proverb that okay, I'm told that some of you can't see the full presentation. Please, is it better now? Can you see the screen?
Yes, some of us you can see.
Oh, okay. So then the one who is having difficulty with the blocks, can you log in and out? Maybe it will pick up better. Please try and let's see.
Okay.
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 So he says that there's nothing ever new on this earth. There's a Ghana proverb that I like. In fact, if you should ask me to give you any proverb in Ghana, I think that's the proverb that is always in my mind. Noni bakoda, yeah. Sean, let me see whether Mama is asleep before she tell me that I spoken broken Ghana. Noni bakoda ye Sean say. Noni bakoda ye Sean say. I hope the guys you are there.
Noni bakoda ye in Shose.
Oh, yeah, in Shose. Okay. So what has never happened before is what? Beyond the sea. Is that also?
Yeah. Yes, beyond the sea.
So that is it. So everything that has happened on this earth has happened before. Hey, we have had issues when COVID came. We say we are dying. Then someone put some 1960 something pandemic that came, and we realized that people were also put in rooms, the quarantine in rooms, and then we even got the lockdown. So then it has come before.
Yes, man.
It's
83.
83. I don't know how many of us saw the 83, but those who saw it. Those who didn't experience it.
Mercy. Hear about it too.
So basically, we all hear all these things that happened before. There have been times that even when the inflation went so high, about 36% somewhere last year, people were talking, then we were referred to a particular year, I think, and Champon or Liban, one of them, that the inflation even went about 40%. It was like, hey, and formerly there was puff when the lady saw the dress, the puff, the shoulder, and then we first say, hey, now, do you know that most of the office wear that we see the women wear, do you know that it is puff? Just that the size of the puff has been reduced a little bit. But you see their shoulder and the same design in a more curved way, a puff back again. Things go and come. So that is how Ecclesiastes put it. As the wisest man in Jerusalem, the teacher feels he is cursed with the unhappy tax of discerning wisdom, for he has seen all the deeds that are done under the sun. To him, there's nothing again. Everything happens. And when you see that Solomon is talking like this, I think that he seems to be talking out of experience. Is it about women that Solomon didn't have? But he had more than any person we know. Is it about wealth, money? Is it about wisdom, luxury? What was it? He had it all, but he just realized that upon all these things, when his heart was turned from God, that means that he is nobody. That means that there's nothing under this earth that is as much as important than having Christ or being in a good relationship with God. That is it. The teacher tries many earthly pleasures. He drinks, he becomes wealthy, acquires power, buys properties, experiences sexual satisfaction, views a sort of entertainment or artistic entertainment. He had everything. However, none of these experiences satisfies him. Although the teacher originally assumed that wisdom is better than folly, he realizes that achieving wisdom is a frustrating and elusive pursuit. For the wise and the foolish both die the same death. So whether you are wise or foolish, you will die. Therefore, he realized that the only thing that is so important is to honor God and to eat, drink, and enjoy yourself. So me, I tell people that happy yourself. Man, I'm not saying happy yourself by going to drink alcohol, booze, and misbehave. No. But as she said, honor God. So in your pursuit of happying yourself, you use it to do what? To honor God as well. That's how it is. To me, if by God's grace, God blesses you, enjoy the blessing. That is why I have problem with those who are too spiritual, to the extent that even going to their hometown, they don't want to go with their new car or to go with their own car. They are afraid they will die. I tell them, happy yourself. Oh. Just make sure that you have a good relationship with God and live your life. It's very, very important. Okay, so we continue with the Ecclesiastes. As he said, he so says he's the teacher. Is a slide moving at your end? Okay. Okay, it's not moving. So the teacher surveys the general trends of the humanity. He knows that just as there is time for each good thing in life, such as birth or love, there is also a time for its opposite, such as death or hate. So there will be a time that you be given birth to. There will be a time that you die. There will be a time that you be loved. There will be a time that you be hated. You be hated. So there are two ways of life. You'll be time for this and time for that. And therefore he concludes that there is time for what? Everything. A time for you to live, to be born, to do everything. There is time. And I like the tree version of it. I say, Osenkafono. It's so interesting when you hear the tree Osenkafono. Emri wo nyame wo mmere ma bibia emra yedewo emra yedu emra. It is so interesting with the tree version when you read it, especially the Ekuapim version of the tree. It's so interesting. So it is often hard for mortal humans to understand the differences between wickedness and justice, but God distinguished between the two. The teacher knows that human labor is marked by competition, envy, and oppression. And that is the point. Most of the time, the thing that we live on, the way we live on this earth, as if we are competing each other. We envy it. Even in the ministry, Christ is there. At the workplaces, you get it, the chapel, in the church, you get it. Sometimes, in a funny way, you may think, okay, and it'll be but sometimes is it really necessary? In the ministry, you see ministers striving hard to push the gospel, to make sure that the church is lifted up, to make sure that Christ is seen everywhere. Then you see another minister also having problem with it, that this person is going too far. I don't get it. If you decide not to do something, someone is doing something, why don't you support the person or either keep quiet? And it's in this Presby church. These things happen every day. But the teacher praises the virtues of human cooperation, noting the advantage of teamwork, that is 2 or 3 people working together, than one person being alone. So it's better for 2 people to lie together, because when one is down, the other can lift him up. And the other part of that particular quotation is that when one is cold, the other can warm her up. So I hope you understand how that one sounds like. So these are some of the things that Ecclesiastes talk about. Next, the teacher discusses various foolish actions such as gluttony, love of money, and excessive talking. He provides series of instructions to avoid such of these things. And so he says that mourning, he claims, is better than fasting. The end of thing is better than mourning, is better than feasting. The end of thing is better than the beginning. So trying to sit down and to mourn and to find, you see, the mourning is not only when someone dies. Sometimes when you sit down to look at how you have even gone in life and then you go over it, it's better than always just enjoying yourself. That's what you want to say. He says that the end is also better than the beginning. So it's not about how you begin, but to him, how you end is very important. Because some people don't begin well, but they end well. Some also begin well, but they don't end well. So you also encourage people to be neither too righteous nor too wicked, but remain moderate. And that has been my case in life. Don't be too spiritual. When it happens like that, there are certain things that you don't even get. You miss it out. Don't also be too down, too carnal. At least in your Christian race, know the truth and make sure that you live a moderate life. There are some people, Papa Papa also for crap, we be tension be. But the question is it not your father? Can't you just appear before your father in a very simple manner? That's our case. To me, that should be the whole thing. And that's why some of us are pushing that a particular person becomes the next moderator. Because somebody you can talk to, somebody you should be free, at least you should meet. And not those era when you meet the moderator, you are afraid. You know, those long ago kind of thing. When you even meet the moderator, but no, be I am even I saw remember and say session. I don't know whether some of you have experienced it before. You are needed a session. No, why should it be so? Let's just be moderate with people. Live a very simple life so that everybody can be okay with us. We can also be okay with them. Yeah. We pray the person wins. Not yet to campaign, so let me continue with my teaching. So the teacher continues to talk about evil and good. He grows tired discussing the distinction between good and bad, clean and unclean, obedient and disobedient. Ultimately, he decides that all of them are before us. And the opposing factor is time and chances. So the main thing that determines what you do in life is time and chances. So I tell people that when it is your time, it is your time. But if it is your time and then you do not take the chance, you'll miss it. So time and chances. You have to know these two things. Once you know it's your time, go forward, and then you go through. So in trying to end the whole thing, give positive exhortation. He encourages humans to live a life that is full of Christ and its fullness. People must also embrace unforeseen chances of life and also be cautious of things of God. You see, God's provision and other stuff. There's unforeseen chances of life. There are certain things we do not know how it will happen, but we just have to be prepared for it. When we're doing insurance, those days we're working for Downward Insurance, and we tell them prepare for unforeseen situations in future, unforeseen circumstances in future. So we used to use it to talk to them about their acts and what are some of those unforeseen: fire, theft, that's burglary, accident, and those things. We talk about all those things that you should ensure yourself against. I remember there was a woman that a whole year nothing happened. She renewed it. The following year nothing happened. She renewed the third for her short fire. And then she called me that Yima Bibi and she on say more maybe. And I was like, Mama, Bibi and she BBC and I yasu baby. But that's why Ecclesiastes is saying that safeguard yourself too for things that are yet to come. So when you are planning, note that there are certain things you don't have control over. And so you save yourself some money. So Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 says what? The end the matter, you conclude, is for humans to fear God and to obey his commandment. That is all. The end of the matter is that you and me should fear God and we should obey his commandments. That is all for Ecclesiastes. So the major lessons we learn from Ecclesiastes is that he offers Christians an opportunity to understand the emptiness and despair that those who does not know God lives in. Those who do not have a saving faith in Christ are faced with a life that will ultimately end and become irrelevant because there's no salvation for them. And if there's no salvation, there's no God. So then what happens? There's no any direction of purpose. So once you die, then you don't have anywhere to go. You don't even have any plan that in your death there's something better for you because you do know God. So there's nothing under the sun that is not known. Apart from God, everything that happens is meaningless. But with Christ, we live a glorious life and then we have a hope of a better life after death. That is to be with him in heaven. Brothers and sisters, that is Ecclesiastes for you. Any question or comment? Any question or comment? Okay. If not, then we move on to Psalms. Psalms. Now, the authorship of Psalms. Mostly people think that Psalm was written by David. So we say, oh, Psalm, David, in yom, and then just an actually can 18 years. So we take it that it is Psalms written by David. Yes, David wrote most of the Psalms. He wrote about 75 of the chapters. What we're trying to say that, it's made up of, I think, 155 chapters. 150. Psalm is about 50 chapters, right?
150.
150, yes. So 150 chapters. And out of the 150 chapters, David wrote 75 of the chapters. So I've listed all the chapters therefore. Then Asaph and his family wrote 12 of the Psalms. So, Psalm, we don't talk about chapters. So Psalms so and so. So I'm saying the chapters so that we understand, but David wrote 75 of the Psalms. Asaph also wrote 12 of the Psalms. The sons of Korah wrote 11 Psalms. Heman wrote 1 Psalm. He even wrote with the sons of Korah. Solomon wrote 2 Psalms. Moses wrote 1 Psalm. That is Psalm 90. So David wrote, as for David, is a lot, so we have it there. But Solomon wrote 2, Psalm 72 and Psalm 127. Moses wrote 1 Psalm, Psalm 90. Heman wrote 1 Psalm, Psalm 88. Ethan also wrote 1 Psalm, Psalm 89. And then we have about the remaining, when you put it together, you'll be left with 48 Psalms. That one, we don't know the writers of those Psalms. So the authorship, because David wrote the most of the Psalms, that's why usually you can hear the INS David and a David. In actual fact, we had about 8 authors. Let's say that 7 known and 1 unknown. I hope you get it. So these are the authors of the Psalms. And you know it's the longest book in the Bible. So a psalm is a religious poem or song set to music. So some of the psalms in the Bible, in the book of Psalms, are hymns to be sung by a congregation. Songs of ascent to be sung by pilgrims. That's those who go on a journey when they are approaching a temple. Some